shit, I did it! Yes, finally! Oh my. Holy shit, I finally killed him! Holy fuck, that took forever. Hey everybody, it's Jeff here with NVG Games, back for another episode of Future N. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the Nintendo NX and Zelda Wii U delay that was announced today by Nintendo at their most recent financial briefing over in Japan for the investors. So this was, like I said, over in Japan early this morning for our time, obviously later in the day for Japan time, since they're a different time zone than we are here in the US. And they announced that both The Legend of Zelda for Wii U and the NX are both going to be delayed until 2017, as I posted on our website, nvgames.com. So for NX, they hadn't really said it was going to be releasing this year, but a lot of people, within the industry and myself, as well as other members of the press, thought that it might be releasing by the end of the year because the average console life cycle is 5 to 7 years, and I think it's been just 4 years. I think it's the Wii U came out in 2012, if I remember correctly. Let me double check that right quick. Yeah, Wii U came out at the end of 2012, and end of 2016 would be 4 years since the Wii U came out, which is actually a shorter amount of time than the average life cycle for a console, because most last 5 years at the minimum, but Wii U's would be lasting only 4 years if it came out this year to the NX. But Nintendo has decided they're going to do it in 2017, unless of course they delay it again, which is entirely possible. Their press release says that it's going to be out in March 2017, which is kind of odd. Nintendo generally releases their consoles towards the end of the year. The past several consoles have released then, so that's unusual that they're doing it in March. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it be delayed until the holiday season of next year, again, once we get closer to March of next year, because they're seemingly forgoing the holiday sales boost. Holiday time, people buy a lot of Christmas presents and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and all those other, holidays that are around that same time frame, buying gifts for, friends, family members, loved ones, that sort of thing. And they tend to sell a lot more hardware during that time of year because, that's a major event for the year, and people spend a lot of money on gifts that time of year because, it's one of the busiest shopping times of the year, at least in the United States. So it's surprising that they would give up that boost, for the sales, but it seems to be what they are going to do because they have penciled in the March 2017 release date. And they even said in their press release that at E3 this year, which is in June or July, I can't remember which, I think it's June, the NX will not be there, at least not publicly shown. They said, quote, NX will not make an appearance at the upcoming E3 video game trade show in Los Angeles in June and will be unveiled later this year, end quote. So yeah, E3 is in June, and they just said it won't make an appearance. They didn't say they weren't going to talk about it, they said it wasn't going to make an appearance. So that is interestingly worded there. So it's possible they could talk about it. They may, say, hey, we're going to stick with the March 2017 release date, or hey, we're going to push it back to November 2017. Who knows? I mean, June is still a couple months away from now, so there's still time for things to change between now and then. But them saying it's going to be unveiled later this year, that either means they're going to be doing a Nintendo World or a Space World type event later this year, or they're going to be doing a Nintendo Direct, which is what they've been doing the past several years. The online presentations later this year, just focusing on NX, which I think that is probably more likely to be what will happen. And my guess would be, fall or holiday time is when they're going to be doing it, somewhere around that time frame. That's not confirmed. That's just my opinion. That's speculation on my part. They have not announced the date, as far as I know, that they're going to be talking about it. And they haven't said that the NX is the final name either. It says in the press release, codename NX. So may be the final name. It may not be. Who knows? So another thing that they announced was being delayed till next year is The Legend of Zelda for Wii U. Previously, Nintendo had said it was going to be releasing by the end of 2016, but and even before that, they said it was going to be releasing in 2015. But then it got delayed to 2016. They wanted time to polish the game, and they had said 2016. They had confirmed it multiple times. Reggie Fils-Aimé, the president of Nintendo of America, and EJ Aonuma and Shigeru Miyamoto had all said 2016. But that's not going to happen now, apparently. They've delayed it till 2017. Interestingly, the press release does not say that it's going to be March 2017 like NX. It says 2017 in general. So it's possible it could be in March of 2017. It could be the end of 2017. We don't know. They just said 2017. That's it. But they did say that it is going to be ported to the NX as well. They said, quote, "The latest installment in this classic franchise is scheduled to launch simultaneously for both Wii U and NX, and both versions of the game have been in development in tandem." End quote. So that shows you that they had been planning to do this on NX for a while. That's probably why it had been delayed, to 2017 for one reason, and possibly even for the 2015 and 2016 delay. And maybe they just needed more time to do the port, is why it's being delayed to 2017. And this is similar to what they did with Twilight Princess. It was originally intended for the GameCube, and then they wound up porting it to the Wii as well, and made it a launch title for that system. So it's possible that the new Zelda game may be a launch title for NX as well, but that's not confirmed. That's just speculation on my part. Again, the press release only said 2017. It didn't say that March 2017 like it did for NX. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But the press release also mentions that the game will be the focus of Nintendo's presence at E3, the new Zelda game. It said, quote, "Because developers need more time to polish the game, it will launch in 2017, but it will be the focus of Nintendo's presence at E3. End quote. And then here's another quote specifically about E3. It says, quote, "Nintendo changes its approach to the show every year. This June, Nintendo will focus its attentions on the upcoming game in the Legend of Zelda franchise. The Wii U version of the game will be playable for the first time on the E3 show floor, and it will be the only playable game Nintendo presents at the show, in order to provide attendees a complete immersion. Additional information about Nintendo's E3 plans will be announced in the future." End quote. So that's interesting that Nintendo said it's going to be the only playable game at E3 this year on the show floor. And you gotta look at the key words there. Only playable, that's the one key phrase right there. That means that they will probably have other games there, just not playable. They'll have video footage or trailers, that sort of thing. And they also said on the show floor. That's another key phrase as well, because as we know, Nintendo in the past has shown stuff to select media outlets and retailers and that sort of thing behind closed doors. And those discussions and roundtables and that sort of thing tend to be shared online later. There's only certain information they're allowed to share. I'm sure Nintendo puts them under an embargo or an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, that sort of thing, or they can't share certain information. But they will, share some information, and eventually someone will leak something. That always happens, even with the NDAs. Something always gets leaked. It's just how it works in the game industry. Because people want to, break a story and get their name out there and that sort of thing. So I'm sure they'll have other stuff at E3, but it just may not be playable. And if it is playable, it may only be playable behind closed doors, not on the show floor for the mass audience to get to. Obviously, E3, it's a trade-only event. It's not open to the public most of the time. They have opened it to the public in previous years. I don't think it has been recently, but there's been years where they have done so. And as far as I know, they haven't said anything about that this year, so it's probably going to be the usual trade-only. People in the press or media and retailers and that sort of thing. And of course, the video game industry as well, developers and publishers, that sort of thing. So I guess we'll have to see how that goes with E3 and Nintendo. Obviously, they're going to have probably their Nintendo Direct event as well. They didn't mention that in their press release, but I assume that's going to happen. They've done it every year since they started doing Nintendo Directs, so why would they stop now? I thought maybe with them saying they were going to talk about NX this year, they even said that last year. We'll talk about NX at E3 next year. Basically, is what they said, that they would have a traditional press conference this year, maybe to show off the new system. But they didn't. They have decided not to do that apparently. And again, going back to what I said earlier, they said that NX will not make an appearance at E3. They didn't say they weren't going to talk about it. That's a very key point to make a note of there. They're not going to show stuff from NX, either the system or controller or games or anything like that necessarily. Although games is just, they may show games actually. They don't say that they won't show NX games. They say that the NX itself will not make an appearance. So that could be just the system itself. Games may make an appearance in some form, though may not be playable. We don't know if they're going to show even any footage of the NX version of Zelda. They said that the Wii U version will be playable at E3, but they didn't say anything about the NX version. So yeah, that's interesting to see, and I guess we'll have to wait till we get closer to E3 to find out what's going to happen. Now, personally, I think it's a mistake on Nintendo's part to delay both of these, especially past the holiday season, because like I was saying earlier, that's when you get a big sales boost for video game stuff, and with Sony, one of their main competitors, running the PS4.5 or Neo or whatever you want to call it, it's going by its code names here. The PS4K, as it's also known. That's been rumored for a while to happen, and I think what the latest I read was they were planning to release it at the end of the year. And Microsoft is working on a second generation Xbox One as well, from what I was reading, with enhanced specs and that sort of thing, kind of like they did, previous years with the Xbox 360 and enhancing the hard disk and that sort of thing. So with their competitors, improving their hardware and that sort of thing, you think that Nintendo would want to, do the same with Wii U or, release NX if it's ready, which we've seen lots of news over the past few months, and last year as well, that they were, ramping up production and that sort of thing. So you would think that they would have it ready to go, but maybe they don't. Maybe they need more time to produce it. Maybe they need more time for game development. I don't know. Maybe it's just because they're wanting to finish up Zelda and the port of that to NX, and that's the only thing holding it up. We just don't know. And again, I've talked about this before. Retro Studios, what are they doing? Are they working on an NX title? One would assume they are. NX has been in the plans for several years now, obviously, and Retro hasn't done anything, release-wise since Tropical Freeze, which is a couple of years ago now at this point. So they have had plenty of time to be working on something. We just don't know what it is. I'm sure Retro knows, obviously. They're the ones working on it. And Nintendo knows, obviously, since Retro is a Nintendo second party. But the general public doesn't know. Are we going to find out at E3? Well, maybe. I hope we do. I'm looking forward to seeing what they have in store. They've been very, very quiet. Nintendo is known for their secrecy and that sort of thing, but they have been extra quiet, the past year or so regarding NX and any plans regarding that. All they basically told us is it exists. I mean, we've seen occasional trademark and patent filings and that sort of thing, but as you know, patents are not necessarily things that they will actually do. The vitality sensor was patented a long time ago, and that never came out, and was eventually canceled. They've patented things before that don't actually turn into actual products. It's just, hey, we've got an idea for this, we might do something with it, we might not, that kind of thing. So who knows if any of the patents we've seen will even be related to NX at all. It could be something entirely different. It could be whatever they're playing after NX. We don't know. There's just so much unknown information at this point in time that all we can do is speculate and think about what could be, because Nintendo's just not telling us, which is frustrating, from a news perspective and a press perspective like I am, running in video games, where I can't provide people with information other than my opinion and speculation, because there's just nothing to go on other than that. So hopefully, like I was saying, we'll get some additional information at E3. Even if we don't see an appearance by the system, they may tell us something about it, like, hey, it's going to cost I don't know, $300 or $400 or whatever the price point's going to be, and it's going to be released on March 31st or whatever date they pick. You know, they said March 2017. So, as you know, with Nintendo, they announce release dates, and 9 times out of 10, the date gets changed. So, I would not be shocked, like I said, to see the date of NX get changed from March 2017 to sometime later in the year. I guess we'll just have to wait and see and find out. And I think that it was a mistake to delay Zelda as well. They should have, you know, had it released on Wii U at the end of this year for holiday. And then if they were going to port to NX anyway, just keep doing that and make it available at launch for NX in 2017 if you're going to delay NX to that till 2017. You didn't have to delay the Wii U version too, in my opinion. But obviously they know more about that kind of thing than I do. You know, I've never developed a video game, and they've been doing it for over 30 years, so they know a little bit more about it than I do. But I would think that they would, you know, want the sales boost and that kind of thing. But I guess we'll just have to see. Maybe they know more than I do about, you know, positioning, release dates, and that sort of thing. If it was up to me, I would have had it released, you know, in November or December of this year to get the holiday boost. But I guess they think otherwise. So that will do it for this episode of Future In. If you want to leave us a comment and let us know what you think of the news about the delays for the NX and Zelda Wii U, you can do so below. And be sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. We have a new video every day except for Sunday. And we also put up our recorded versions of our Let's Play series as well. We record those 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And the recorded versions usually go up the next day. So again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/nvideogaming or on Twitter at twitter.com/nvideogames. And you can check out our official website for Nintendo news, screenshots, trailers, and more at nvideogames.com. Thanks for tuning in, and game on.